Hello, you. This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites. A no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
Hello, you numpties. This is the villain, Marty Skell, and you're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 220. Was barely able to start the show because I was dying laughing at the new Superhuman video. My name is Nick Howell.
And to hell with Seth Rollins, I am accepting Big E Langston as my own personal savior and messiah. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to Busted Wide Open.
Wow.
The only wrestling podcast you need in your life. Nick Howell, how dare you? How dare you be watching that jackass wannabe
Yes.
before going and starting this show where we actually talk about real wrestling, because
They're doing it for all the juggalos and the juggalettes.
Oh my God. All right, we got some real wrestling to talk about today. We have to talk about AEW, NXT, Smackdown. We're building towards Money in the Bank. We got some crazy news about what Money in the Bank is going to be this year. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but we can't talk about that yet. We do need to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we can discuss all of that fun stuff.
Woo! Guys, come over and join us on Facebook. Just search for Busted Wide Open over on Facebook. Like our page and send us a join request to get into the discussion group. You'll find fun news stories, memes, all kinds of good discussions happening over there. And we treat it as sort of the hub of our whole operation here at Busted Wide Open. You can also find links to our Discord community where we have live chats all throughout the week happening all the time for all of the live shows that are going on, to have live chats during the shows, as well as some side shows like our superfan Andy Jessup likes to do all of these rewatches of old 90s content, and I'm thoroughly enjoying going back and watching all of the interaction happening there. So good stuff, Andy. Keep doing that. But yeah, you can do anything you want to in the Discord, but that's what it's there for. So dedicated chat channels for all pay-per-views, all kinds of events, such as the forthcoming Money on the Roof Bank match that we'll talk about in a minute. You can get to also find us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, streaming live right here at YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern and noon Pacific, where we also do our patron mailbag, sort of AMA show that we where our patrons send us questions. We're going to be doing one today immediately after the show, but make sure you're subscribed at youtube.com/bustedwideopen, and make sure you got your bell turned on so that you get notified anytime we go live or put up new content, such as the surprise unfortunate show we had earlier this week. Thank you all for showing up and supporting that. Last but certainly not least, speaking of the patrons, the phenomenal ones. You guys rock. Thank you for sending in your questions every single week. Thank you for your support all throughout these dark times that we're going through right now. It is absolutely amazing to see all of you showing up and showing your support, not only for us, but for all of the wrestlers out there that were affected this week, and just wrestling in general. You guys are an amazing group of folks, and thank you so much. If you'd like to get in on some of the exclusives that they are enjoying themselves, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers. The ability to get ask listener questions every single week, get a copy of the show notes, and participate in our patron pick'ems challenge at the $5 tier. And on top of that, at the $10 tier, you can get bonus episodes, Skype calls with Nick and Sir Ian Dangerous up above at $50, and then all kinds of good stuff. And yes, shout out to Mr. Trey Davis who is our first ever $100 patron, which means he's going to get his own segment once per month here on the show. And we're going to work with Trey to make sure that we get that in. But yeah, this is going to be interesting because we've had Patreon up for a couple of years now. And this was the first one that we hit where we hit $100 one. So we're going to be adding a segment in his namesake to the show in an ongoing basis. So this could be fun. And if we've got a limited spot for 4 of those, so we could have 4 of those unique segments every single month. That could be a lot of fun. But hey, patreon.com if you want to get into some of that. But Ian, we got a lot to go over today because we had it was some dark times and there were some good times. But we got to kick things off, unfortunately, with the big news.
Well, these ones always kind of suck, but in the big news this week, rest in peace, the Fink. Howard Finkel passed away this week, age 69.
Just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any worse.
Yes. It snuck up on you. But that being said, he was in failing health for a while. He had a stroke about a year ago, and it just had been not doing well ever since. We did know that. I think we reported on the show that he wasn't doing well, that he was ailing. But he finally passed away. The voice of WWE back in the day. And he was the voice of Madison Square Garden when WWE was there. One of the most iconic ring voices in professional wrestling, if not all of sports, really. Very unique voice.
I think it's him and Buffer.
Probably.
Nobody, everybody else is down here.
He was WWE's first employee. He actually began working for WWF in 1975, started announcing for them in 77, and then when Vince made the company into the WWF in 1980, he was the first employee Vince hired. He was the first employee of WWF, and he's also one of the first people inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you haven't seen his Hall of Fame speech, it's awesome because he does his catchphrase to himself. And newly inducted today, and new, it was fantastic. So rest in peace, Howard Finkel. I still to this day, and I want somebody to explain this to me. Why in the early 2000s, they started using Tony Schimmel and Lillian Garcia, who were both good, by the way, both very good ring announcers. Why they started using them when they had another 10, maybe 15 years of good Fink left at that point. Like he still could pull it. He still could go at that point. And I still don't, to this day, will never understand why they didn't just let him ride.
There might have been a diversity angle bringing Lillian in. And that's not a
Lillian,
knock on,
I could see.
Not a knock on Lillian. She's fantastic.
She's
they were singing. Some of the pay-per-views, they were doing the national anthem. They were doing America the Beautiful, all of that stuff. So I get it. I understand.
Vince trying to get a new look
with
to
you.
the company. Yeah, make it feel new, and that's definitely part of it. But it's still like, man, that you talk about a guy who, I mean, he never screwed up. And you ask anybody in the industry, and they'll tell you one of two things. Either they'll tell you this guy was one of the greatest ring announcers in terms of talent ever, because he never wavered, he never stuttered, nothing. He nailed it every time. Even when they were throwing him curveballs, he nailed it. And then he's like, the other thing you always hear is he's the nicest, most humble guy ever. Those are the two things you always heard about him.
Yeah.
So it's always painful when a guy like that leaves us all. But unfortunately, that is what happened this week. So rest in peace, the Fink.
In the tech events industry, or just in like trade shows in general, you have the PA system they loosely refer to as the voice of God.
Right.
And when people make big announcements and it comes over the loudspeakers or over the PA, it's known as the voice of God. If you're at a concert venue or anything like that, that's what the event management people will refer to it as. It's funny knowing wrestling personalities. Like, I always knew of Shivani. I always knew of Mean Gene. I always knew of people that were always there. But I knew Fink, looking back on it now, as the voice of God. In a funny analogy there. Like, I always heard his voice. I very rarely saw him. And the camera would always be pointed at the wrestler coming to the ring with the voice of God announcing them to the ring, and the camera would always be on the wrestler celebrating their title victory, and you would just hear the roar of "and new."
Yeah,
just right. So
everyone wanted him to announce their title victories. Like even CM Punk in 2011, like they brought him back. Like that was everyone wanted him to do it because he just had like when you got that I'm getting chills right now. I'm getting chills right now even just thinking about it.
So all that to say, rest in peace, Fink. You are my voice of God.
Amen.
Thank you.
Cheers to that. That being said, Nick, we have plenty more to talk about. And the world does go on, which means we need to head on over and discuss All Elite Wrestling.
Whew. I want to, in the wake of the Boneyard match, in the wake of the Firefly Funhouse match, and in the wake of Ciampa Gargano, all being these big, epic combination, and I want to throw Orton and Edge in there as well. We had, this week on AEW, what was set up to be an empty arena, brawl for all, sort of no holds barred, no DQ kind of match for the AEW Championship between Jon Moxley and Jake Hager. We've been setting this up for a few weeks, and they continued to set it up all throughout this show. Man, I'm going to have a lot of the same feedback that I had for several of those other matches. It was beautiful to watch, seeing the clashing of two different styles. They would mix it up with each other's styles, and sometimes you really forget just how good Jack, whatever, is.
He's also gotten a lot better.
But this was way too long.
Yeah.
By the time you mix commercials, I'm like, they got to the end of the first hour of Dynamite, and it was already about to kick off. Coming up next, when we come back from the break, Moxley finally faces off with Jake Hager, and I'm going,
already?
Wait,
it's funny.
Can't we get a Vanguard one and Jericho in the hot tub segment in here for 10 minutes before we do this? Like, come on, God. Like, I get it. I want to be the first to say that I get it. I understand you're making do with what you've got to work with and the time and the situation that we're all in. But, man, this drug out.
This went on for a while. And the thing is as you said, in the shadow of Orton Edge, which I think a lot of people agree went long. And we on the show were like, all right, it was a blood feud. It needed to have some heft to it. But it went on. Yeah, for a while. It did just keep on going, and at a certain point, it lost that trajectory where you want the match to keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and it just kind of like cruised for a while. Like it reached some points, and then it dropped back down, and okay, we're gonna just kind of wander around the backstage some more. And Gargano Ciampa, very similar kind of way, where it's a bunch of spots we've already seen before, and then just some arbitraries. Let's get on top of the truck. Because it's there. Let's walk outside. Get the truck. There's a truck. Let's go outside. Get the truck. It's just arbitrary. And this one felt arbitrary too. They get out of the ring. They wander through the stands. They come back. The stuff in the ring, they start off with, grappling and very, very much like a strong style, Inokiistic, like really like shoot style fight.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of chain wrestling happening in this match.
But then they go out and they brawl in the stands, and then they come back, and then it's basically a knockdown, drag-out pro wrestling match, and where they see who can hit their finishing move. And ultimately, Moxley does give him the paradigm shift onto a chair, and that's. Now
I want to say all of what I just said with the qualifier that this would have been absolutely amazing and in front of thousands of people. There would have been the pops. Right. There would have been like all of the moments that we all popped for as wrestling fans watching it. The crowd would have amped that up even further because there were some turns there as they were doing the story of the match, right? But we've got to be realistic about the situation that we're in, and that isn't going to happen the same way it traditionally would. And I'm also sitting here in my head going, yeah, but Nick, haven't you always wanted these big, long, epic 40 to 60 minute matches to show up in other wrestling promotions besides New Japan? I'm like, I really would like to see it, but with fans when we get back to that.
And that's kind of the problem is this was structured like a match would typically be structured if you had a whole bunch of screaming fans there.
Right.
The problem is
there were segments in it.
It's not just right, and it's also like big moments to make everyone go ooh and ah. And even if we're going ooh and ah at home, there's something about the lack of response after those moments that makes you kind of feel a little deflated.
They fall
and
flat.
It takes right. It falls flat a little bit. And unfortunately, when they're doing stuff like they're doing right now, they changed a lot of the production. They changed like the camera angles and stuff like that, how they shoot things. They've also got to think about changing actually how matches work, because it's not going to read to a TV audience, especially without a crowd, the way it's going to read normally when there's a crowd there. A lot of times,
Right.
if the crowd is feeling it, it'll translate to the TV audience because we're hearing the crowd appreciate it. If there's no crowd there, you've got to play directly to the TV audience, and that means a different kind of match structure. Part of the problem here, too, I also want to say is it might have been a mistake to have JR call this alone, because JR still has some gas left in the tank, but he's not what he once was. Let's just call a spade a spade. And
this was better, though, because it was pre-taped, and he was doing voiceover commentary instead of like live.
But he still had massive times of dead air where he wasn't talking. And unfortunately, without a crowd, as we've seen in WWE and in NXT, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You've got to keep, like the Mauro Ranallo, at least, when he was calling that ladder match, he was just like always something's happening. Right? Michael Cole, same thing, where they're keeping on it as much as possible, just trying to keep up the energy. That announcer has to be the energy for the entire freaking crowd if there's no crowd there. And they didn't even have anybody, like they do in the rest of AEW, where you've got some of the other talent ringside. They didn't even have that. So,
and I had that question. I was like, oh no, what are you doing? No, you've clocked onto something, and you guys have filled the dead air with like 12 wrestlers on the outsides of the ring, and now that's gone. Oh no. Put him back. Bring him back.
And the only person we have to give us energy now is JR, who's just kind of sitting back. Oh, he's got him in a triangle lock.
I think that's what it's called.
It's been pretty tight. Yeah, he's struggling out of this one. He's got to really work for this. And I'm just sitting there going, no, JR, come on, pep it up, JR, pep it up.
Yeah.
Chug a bottle of your barbecue sauce, like spicy one.
Right.
Get up on it.
Tell me about them Sooners.
Yeah. That was the most energized he was when he was talking about the fact that Jake Hager's from Oklahoma.
Right.
That was the most lively he got. But yeah, that was the problem is from a technical standpoint, if you had plugged in 10,000 screaming fans in there, this would have been a fantastic match.
Yeah.
If you'd plugged in a lightning hot commentary team on this, it would have probably helped a lot. As it was, it just was kind of there, and it sucked because these guys went in on each other and they were working stiff, and it was a hard hitting match, and both guys I thought came out looking fantastic. Hager looked like a monster. Moxley looked like he survived.
Mm-hmm.
It was great stuff.
Yeah, he got that lucky paradigm shift with the chair there. That is the one thing that put Hager down to long enough for the 3 count. Yeah, I don't know if we're done here or if the way AEW is going to do it, that like this is his loss and it resets his ranking back to the bottom of the list. I don't know. They've shown that they aren't ones to do rematches, especially for the top title, very very quickly. So yeah, we might be moving on to somebody else now. But now that we're here, we're in this interesting spot where it's like, okay, what do you got next? Because you got the TNT tournament going on, and
that's going to be a champion right there.
That's about it.
Who is next for Moxley? That is a big question. And I'm curious if they should have given up on Hager's undefeated streak already, if they should have kept him a monster. I mean, like I said, I thought he looked strong here, but it was an interesting time to do that.
They had to stick with the kayfabe that they built around rankings and everything. So yeah. I don't fault him for putting Hager up there. It surprised all of us, I think.
It surprised me that they gave Moxley the championship this soon.
Yeah.
So, hey, but I'm curious where they're going from here. I did have a chance to ask Josh Barnett what he thought about the fact that we had a main event title match that started off with some like some real strong style, like the kind of stuff you would see if Moxley and Barnett ever actually finally get to meet at Bloodsport. I would imagine the match is going to look a lot like the first sequence of this match. And I asked Barnett like if he thought that Moxley was believable against a guy who actually has a real shoot record, if they were able to make that sequence work. And if what he thought about the fact that they were actually doing this in a title match. And he said people are into seeing wrestling treated with seriousness and reality. And I said, well, what's the timetable on that crossing over into the mainstream in the West? And he said he thinks it's possible, but just to give him some time. So he wants to see more of this.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of this. I was glad to see it. So I'm curious if we see more of this style, because here I even felt like it was an appetizer to the pro wrestling. So I'm wondering if people liked that ground and pound MMA crossover style that they did at the beginning of this.
It suits Moxley. I'll say that.
It does, but the thing is that was one of the reasons I was asking Josh about that. Was you've got a guy like Hager who is trained for years now in that style and is quite good at it, very proficient, as you could see here.
Yeah.
I actually kind of thought Moxley was a little bit outmatched. I feel like there was one or two times where I thought I caught him missing a catch, and Hager had to slow down for him to catch up with him. I thought I caught that.
Yeah. But
I wonder if it's the sort of thing where that's going to be noticeable to the casual eye. I don't know. This match was an interesting one to me because it had that element in the beginning where at the first third of it, I was going, oh, damn, this is like an Inoki match.
Yeah.
And then it got back into pro wrestling, and I don't know how well it melded, or if I'd wanted a whole match where they kept it semi-believable like that. Do you know what I mean, Nick?
Yes, I totally do. I think this suited Moxley. I think it reminded me of a lot of the good stuff we saw of him in the G1 last summer. Hager kind of brought that back out of him a little bit, some of that strong style stuff. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. I'm happy they put the title on Moxley. I'm happy they put it on Moxley, but I'm not happy they took it off of Jericho. So I'm in that weird middle ground of like I want to support both.
Right.
But I'm kind of surprised that this match performed as well as it did, all things considered, being an empty arena and things like that. I do think they made the mistake of making it empty arena, and that they should have put it with some of the wrestlers on the outside. But yeah.
Well, it is what it is. I think it's actually funny that you say that, because Moxley has the belt, but Jericho still acts like the champion.
Right.
He still calls himself Le Champion.
Yeah.
And it still feels like he's the champ. Like,
yeah.
It's something that, where it really proves that old adage that the man makes the title, not the title makes the man. So Go figure.
Before we move on real quick, I gotta shout some people out. Nicholas Yates with $10 in the tip jar for the Fink. Cheers for the Fink. Thank you, Nicholas. Good name too, by the way. Also, the hacker from Smackdown tried to tip us $4.20 because I guess the timing and everything. But I'm a tech guy. You can't sneak past me, Jonathan Malo. I see you with $4.20 in the tip jar.
The truth will come out.
Yes. Thank you guys very much for that.
Guys.
Yes. Next up, Colt Cabana.
Your boy.
In the next Boom had his match with Lance Archer and for the TNT Championship first round on that lower B block. And I want to put something in perspective here for you guys that have never seen either of these guys in person. I have a picture that I've posted in the Busted Wide Open discussion group of me with Colt Cabana. Now, I'm a 5'10", 5'11" dude on a decent day, about 205, 210, thereabouts, right? Colt Cabana is about 6'4" and about 250, 260 pounds.
He dwarfs you.
Did you see him standing next to Lance Archer?
Lance Archer dwarfs him.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy. Like, you can't see it when he's walking down the ramp because the camera has to zoom all the way out to make sure his big ass fits in the frame. That dude is a monster.
He's knocking his head on the entrance tunnel.
God.
He is, what is he, 6'7"? I think they bill him at.
I think he's 6'8", 285, I think is what they're billing him at. So imagine a 6'8" Brock Lesnar.
Sure. And it's funny because these days that's considered a big guy. That's average back in the day in WWE. Like Randy Orton is only slightly smaller than that. Drew McIntyre is that size.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had true monsters like Taker and Kane who were and Diesel, who were legit 7 feet. And I've stood between Kevin Nash and Shaquille O'Neal, and I haven't felt like that much of a child since I was 3 years old.
Right.
I mean, it's like being Caleb Braxton next to Baron Corbin. It's just like, hi, sir, please don't step on me.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a big boy. He's a modern big boy where you can be a big boy at 6'7". But he's also just, yoked, and poor little Colt's getting in there with his big smile and his aw shucks good guyness. And you kind of saw how this was going to go.
I love, by the way, I just want to, we didn't mention this and I didn't see it here in the note, but these promos that they're doing at the top of AEW every week with Jake the Snake with that ominous theme music going in the background, I get the little goosies going. Is he better now than he was 30 years ago? Yes.
No, but he's very
good. These
he's
promos are better.
No, he's very good, but he's not old school Jake. But I will say this. I like the promos. They got to redo the footage of that damn ring where Archer's beating everybody up. Because he gets in there and everyone's like smiling and happy that he's killing people. And then at the end, they're all dead. And there's one guy like kind of resting against the ring post. Like he's sleeping.
Right.
Like he ate from the little apple in Snow White. He's, I'm having a little rest here in the corner. It looks goofy. It doesn't sell Archer's terrifying.
Yeah.
The way that I think that they think it does. This match, however, does. Because as you say, Colt Cabana is a big boy.
Yeah.
And Lance Archer manhandled him. Like Colt got in a little bit of offense, but it was that plucky babyface offense in defeat, like where he's like, I almost got you. Oh, darn it. Nope. Here comes the blackout. And
yeah,
he flipped him over his head. I mean, they made point of it, saying on commentary how insane that is. And Colt definitely helps the move, but at the same time, that's still ridiculous.
Yeah. The size of Colt definitely makes that move look that much more devastating rather than him doing it like on Marco or somebody, right?
Exactly. We were saying like Marco's stunt was a bad person to put against Archer because of course Archer's gonna, like, anybody's gonna beat up Marco's stunt. Like, it doesn't make him scary. But you combine his viciousness with that kid, combined with him being able to put down a guy like Cabana, it sells him a much better. And this was a great way of selling Archer. And I'm curious what they have in store for him because he is on this trajectory to this championship, and it's looking like he's going to hit Cody in the finals. And of course, that's been the story since he showed up, was Jake and he want a match with Cody. Is this something where Archer gets, tricked or doesn't end up with the title here with the TNT championship and Cody gets it or something like that?
Yes. No, Darby's going to get it.
That's what I'm saying.
Are you picking? Wait, Cody?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Cody should get it. This is something where I'm figuring out how they're going to get Archer and Cody into a longer term feud, or if they're going to have this end with Archer beating Cody and taking this title right now. That seems to be a little bit ahead of the game to me. I mean, I'm curious how the next 2 weeks bring, but. Given that they've already got this all locked down, so we see all the pieces kind of coming together in this tournament, it makes me wonder what they have planned between those two, because that does seem to be the big story here.
I had to verify I wasn't crazy real quick, so I'm not crazy. I think I've called this before. We saw a little bit of animosity, but the last time we saw Cody and Darby Allin together, where he yanked away from Cody and then hit him, right? So to me, it's obvious we're going to get Cody and Darby Allin in that A block, and then Lance Archer winning that B block. And I don't know, man. I'm sitting here wondering, does Darby Allin pull off a miracle against a monster to get this title? And I mean, because both of those guys kind of need this. I think Darby, you could make an argument that Darby needs it more because he's been there from day one. And I'm sitting here going, are they going to strap Archer right away? I don't want Archer to be that dragon yet. There's other things he can go do. I want Darby to have something that makes people come at him, and he can just be this unstoppable crazy man that will do anything to keep it.
No, I think Darby's a guy that, they say that there's some baby faces that are better in the chase. Gargano is one of them. Sami Zayn is one of them. They're better chasing than they are champs.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
I think Darby's like that. Whereas you already have a big baby face in Jon Moxley holding your main title. Having a big scary heel like Lance Archer holding your secondary title, I think would be a good call for them right now, especially if he has to kill Cody to get it, and then Cody has to go on some sort of redemption angle with him to come back around. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with it, but we will have to see. We also saw Sammy Guevara versus Shug D, Pineapple Pete from last week. Basically just a showcase for Guevara. Although Pineapple Pete impressed me. He had more in the tank than I thought he did. But that was basically just a way to show Sammy Guevara is just a bit better than some guys. And it was a good showcase for him.
We've been trying to tell you guys for a while that dude's going to surprise a bunch of people. And
Sammy Guevara?
Yeah, he's fantastic.
There's a reason these people are giving him so much.
Yeah.
They're not crazy.
Right. And I feel like you've seen about that much of
you've seen a fraction.
Like if you've
of what
watched Lucha Underground, if you've been a fan of PWG for a long time, you've seen him do a lot of stuff, right? And I feel like we've only seen him scratch the surface. We've mostly seen him, being an arrogant prick, which he's really good at being. But we're starting to see some of his wrestling capability and his high flyer capability as well. And I can't wait to see him and Darby clash.
Well, and again, he's playing a heel right now, so he's not busting out a lot of his big moves. He's not trying to please the crowd.
Yep.
He's not, like you see the guys bust out a lot of their flashier stuff and look a lot cooler when they're face.
Yep.
He's not face. He's a heel. He's not there to make you like him right now. So, yes, and that's just good work. And this was a match where you could kind of see the talent there without him having to work as a babyface and get over in that way. Like you could just see him work really clean. And like I said, props to Shug D for also being a good counterpoint where they had really good chemistry. They got some comedy stuff in, and then Sammy was like, okay, enough of this. I'm going to kick your ass. And it was more a competitive match than I thought it was going to be. But so next week, your boy Darby Allin's going up against Sammy Guevara in that tournament. Do you think Darby should win that match? I mean, he's going to have to because he's got, he and Cody have a story. Sammy got his win here, so he can lose next week, and it offsets. So
Darby Allin's definitely winning, and I think Darby Allin's beating Cody. Rest in peace, Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
Damn. Dude.
Cody and Darby Allin are absolutely going to get their hands on each other again, and it's something that I feel like this has been brewing from the launch of Dynamite. Like these two have kind of been at each other back and forth in varying capacities.
Sammy. I like that they have this.
Darby and Cody, I mean.
Well, Darby and Sammy too. Like they've had a long-term beef, and I like that they have those in here where they're not even really feuds. You just know these two guys have a history of not liking each other.
Right.
And there's a history now between Darby and Cody too. It's just more convoluted because, they've been on the same side for most of like their first match was, Cody beating Darby, or no, Darby went to the time limit. Was that what it was? But Cody ended up beating him, as I recall.
It was double or nothing. I remember that.
Yeah, but Darby looked strong in defeat, as what I recall it being, is that Cody basically made Darby look good.
Fighter Fest? Double or Nothing was Dustin. God, my memory's shot this week, guys.
I know. Double or Nothing was Dustin.
This week
I think
really
it was Fighter Fest.
messed me up in more ways than I expected. But yeah, I can't wait for Cody and Darby to get hands on each other. I can't wait next week for Sammy and Darby to get hands on each other. That whole A block is just fantastic, and the Spears and Cody match was fantastic. So speaking of something else,
I think you think is fantastic. Britt Baker.
Come a long way.
Britt Baker this week with her broken nose, calling Hikaru Shida a cheater, and saying that she's a great role model because she does XYZ. It's a very Bayley-ish thing she's doing right now, turning into this whole
Except
role
this
model.
Suck.
That's kind of where I was going with it. Is she out Bayleying Bayley here?
Yeah.
Because the promos are better, the delivery is better.
She actually has a gimmick.
Yeah, beyond being a Karen. Yeah, she's actually got something going on, and she had a squash match. She beat Cassandra Golden here, get her win back from last week, but also just put over the fact that she is just one of those heels that you just want to hate. But that's the thing, is that she is actually taking this gimmick that Bayley's now trying to do, this kind of heel where she thinks she's in the right. She's annoyed by the fans, but she thinks they're idiots, but at the same time, she wants to be a role model to them and be like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. It's a very old school heel tactic, but it's an example of Britt doing it right and Bayley not able to pull it off.
Yep. And just seeing her like borderline, like we're getting into some psychopath kind of tendencies and territory here with Britt. And I don't know if you guys are reading that far into it, but I'm seeing some things in a direction that we're going here. I mean, like her just laughing and holding the needle up and squeezing the syringe out, and I'm going, this has legs. This could go somewhere. Like, let's keep going. Steer into this.
I'll tell you right now, she busts out some Novocaine in a match at some point, and I will needles. Like not. That could be like another moment, like Macho Man in the ropes with the snake with the King Cobra, where I just have to turn away from the TV. If she starts injecting people with Novocaine in the middle of the match, and like, can you imagine? She's like,
and if she's able to turn this around, like you were saying, into some sort of hero of the people kind of thing, a la, there's all kinds of examples of that throughout history and comics and movies and all that stuff, right? The antagonistic kind of the anti-hero sort of stuff. Like, man, we could get into some serious stuff here with Britt Baker. And the irony of this is, like, we tore her apart on the cruise a few months ago.
We tore apart before then, too.
Well, I mean,
the amount of improvement
when she made the actual turn on the cruise ship, right? We were just like, oh, what the? She's calling Shivani a barista and handing him a coffee? Like, what the shit is this, Lana? And then you go forward, and here we are 3-4 months later, and you're just like, this is fantastic.
Yo, Jay just pointed out something in the chat that's hilarious. She says she's doing Isaac Yankem way better than Glenn Jacobs ever did.
Nailed it.
That's it. All right, that's the period sentence of that one. Kip Sabian had a match. Kip Sabian, him and Penelope Ford, uncomfortably good-looking couple, beat Chuck Taylor, and it was both of them beating him because it took a Hurricane Rana from Penelope and some serious distraction to finally put Chucky away. But they did get the win. Orange Cassidy was ringside, but he got taken out by Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc murdered Orange Cassidy. So they have a match next week.
Jimmy Havoc versus Orange Cassidy. Put it in my eye holes.
No doubt. I'm very curious to see what they do there. But what was the idea behind this match? Was it just to set up Cassidy and Havoc? Was it to give Kip a little bit of momentum because he hasn't really had a whole lot of wins lately? Like, was it? I guess what I'm saying is this match had no stakes, and we're not really sure.
It was not for Kip, and it wasn't for Chucky T.
No. Would we let WWE get away with this kind of lazy booking? Is I guess what I was going to say.
We have for years. Because it was at a point they do this kind of stuff every week. And this match was to set up something else, not for what it was there for. Don't pay attention to this giant steak. There's some nice sides over here as well. Look, this was to set up Havoc and Cassidy. I'm all in on that. This was to shine some more light on Penelope Ford as a ringside valet and potential worker herself. So that's what I'm here for, right? I wasn't here to see Kip Sabian and Chucky T. And it's the problem I said a few weeks ago about the best friends, is that if they're not careful, they're going to become irrelevant because everybody's watching what Orange Cassidy's doing because he comes out with every single one of their matches, singles or tag. And nobody's watching Chucky T and Trent. Now, when Trent had the match with Omega, it was amazing. And I guarantee you, if Penelope and Cassidy had not been here, we'd been all eyes on Kip Sabian and Chucky T probably having a pretty good match. I can't tell you one thing about their match because I was too busy watching Penelope Ford, Orange Cassidy, and Jimmy Havoc ringside.
All the other distractions.
And the cameras kept cutting away to the other wrestlers that were in. Like, I have no idea how I would call the Kip Sabian and Chucky T match. Because it was too busy. There was too much going on outside. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It was entertaining.
If that's where you want the attention to be. And I think that's where they want the attention to be.
Yeah. Sean Spears murdered a poor kid named Justin Law. Sean came out kind of cocky, big smile. This Justin Law? No, never heard of him?
Yeah, no.
I'm shocked. He looked like a Cabbage Patch Kid came to life and put on wrestling trunks. But Shawn Spears started off, he didn't take him seriously. The kid almost got a pinfall, and then so Shawn Spears just murdered him.
Right.
Okay, Shawn Spears back on the horse. He's now on a win streak. Are they trying to get him hot again because he just lost to Cody in the tournament? Or is this heading towards some sort of storyline where Shawn Spears is on a winning streak and then actually goes for something bigger and is successful this time? What do you think is happening with Shawn Spears and his win-loss right now?
My gut tells me that Cody's about to lose to Darby Allin in the TNT tournament.
Okay, Nick booking. Go ahead.
Could we fire up the Cody and Shawn Spears stuff again outside of a title picture? Please? I don't want... Everything Cody has seemingly done has been around some kind of title thing since the start of AEW. And I'd love to see Cody do something that's just a pure blood feud. I never got mine back fully from that chair shot you gave me from day one. And I want to see an actual ongoing feud between those two guys, and we did, but it was all video packages with Tully Blanchard. And we got some matches. There was never really a definitive end, and they're still kind of messing with each other, and they still had a good match last week in the first round, and I still don't feel like that's done. I might be crazy, but I feel like there's more there, especially with Arn and Tully now.
I have a feeling that Shawn Spears and Cody is a long-term thing. I don't know if right now is the time. I think they're just trying to get Shawn Spears back up on the horse again because he was on a pretty bad losing streak. So I think they need to make him look strong again.
Yeah, they are.
He's a big component. And he says he's still looking for a tag team partner. Let's put it this way. With this last week in WWE, there's a lot of possibilities out there. A lot of new possibilities.
I nearly choked. I'm sorry.
Right. Rusev, Eric Young, EC3. There's a lot of guys you could pair up with Shawn Spears in AEW, and it would make a damn good tag team of disgruntled ex-WWE employees. Finally, we had a cute little skit from the Inner Circle, the Bubbly Bunch, and it was basically the Brady Bunch with all the guys talking to each other on the phone, and one of them would say something, and then we'd go over to the next one. They're talking on their phone, and there's a little thrown together skit in quarantine is what it looked like. I'll say this, Nick. It was cute, but is that what we want from the Inner Circle? Kind of. Okay.
I want them to almost not appear like they don't care. Almost like they don't have to care is a better way to say that.
Okay.
They're above it. They're just doing stuff for a laugh. And you know what? After the week that not that they knew anything like that was coming in advance. Maybe they had inside info. Who knows? But they're just out there doing entertaining stuff. Jericho sitting in his hot tub yelling at Vanguard One, giving it a T-shirt to fly away with. Entertaining stuff. And, I appreciate and respect the creativity of it. I never would have thought that you could have done something like the Bubbly Bunch. But it was cute. Was it silly? Yeah, it was silly. You have Jericho pouring orange juice out, and he completely misses the glass. You couldn't have cut that or reshot it? Because when you cut to the next shot of Jericho, there's no spill anymore.
I thought, right, they were just being silly to be silly.
Yeah, for the sake of it. And that's the one little critique I would do. If you're going to do something like that, steer into it a little bit more. Take it seriously.
I thought that was them. You want to... Okay, so I thought they were actually steering into the silliness because they're the shots don't match.
No, I'm talking about
the
Bubbly Bunch thing. If you're going to produce something like that, make it top-notch. Be cute and be funny and be snarky, but, have really good production value.
No, I thought the opposite. I thought the lack of production value played into the silliness. That's part of the appeal of it was that it was intentionally bad. It was intentionally not produced, and that's funny, right? That aspect of it is funny.
Yeah,
that's how I took it.
It made me think of all those sports broadcasters I've been watching for the last month try to do their shows over Zoom calls. And how terrible it looks. There's no excuse. Right. You should be doing better than this.
But that's the thing is if they make it we know they made it so that watching it you go, okay, they know it's that bad. They do know it's that bad. That it's intentional. Not it's not them being incompetent. It's them having a lot of fun with it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So but that's the thing is is that undermining them being taken as a serious threat? And I think it can work both ways, where they can come out and then murder somebody and you go, oh, they're a legit threat. But I question wanting to make them too charming. And there are several things. Even, Jake Hager had a thing in this that was a funny little bit where he's sitting on a lawn chair with his kids. His kids are sitting right next to him. And he goes, earmuffs. And they both go, and they cover their ears. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to beat the shit out of John Moxley.
Yeah.
And you cut to the kids kind of going, Dad's saying horrible things. Oh, God. It was cute. And then later in the show, he comes out and he's a killer. And he's a scary guy. I wondered how much that undermined that, or if that made him too charming. If you want to keep it serious, or if this is something that actually gives more depth to their characters.
I don't know. What are they going to do next? The old Budweiser, where they go back and forth between
their own version of it, maybe.
Dookie.
Maybe.
That's the shit we're going to end up doing if they keep this stuff up. And this is not what I want to see my top heel faction on a wrestling program doing. Sorry.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, is like this is inarguably entertaining, funny as hell.
In the moment, yes, but when you think about it in the meta, it's like, no, don't do that.
In the big picture, I'm like, oh, it kind of decreases how seriously people can take you.
Right.
But that being said, Jericho's made a whole career off of being funny and a heel. So I don't know.
He definitely knows better than I do. I will openly admit that.
Exactly. And so for
reasons.
me, the jury is still out. I'm kind of like, well, that would not have been something I did with my big heel faction, but at the same time, who the hell am I to question Le Champion?
Agreed.
So Nick, that was a fairly solid episode of AEW, but there's plenty more wrestling to talk about, which means we need to head over to NXT.
Well, kicking off NXT. Nope. We're going to kick this off with Abraham Castillo with $20 in the tip jar.
Dude.
Because every time I hear this show, I smile and feel upbeat. I'm thankful for you two and the BWO Nation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, brother.
Cheers.
Sorry about your boy. Sorry about that, brother.
Oh, man. Oh, rough week. Kicking things off, we had a tag match with the Broserweights and Undisputed Era, except there was something that we were kind of looking forward to here, but kind of fell on like a turd. Just didn't really. I don't know. Timothy Thatcher debuted.
Yes. What do you mean?
Hey.
What are you talking?
To an empty arena. Yay.
Well, you weren't excited by that?
Of course, but I wanted it to be
Jesus
just like
Christ.
You're never gonna get that back, though. That's my point. Like,
okay.
I was
sitting on my couch. Okay, so Pete Dunne stuck in the UK for legit reasons.
Yes.
Matt Riddle has to defend the tag team championships against the Undisputed Era. Also represented, by the way, not by Fish and O'Reilly, but by Fish and Strong, because O'Reilly's out because he's immunocompromised.
Because the old man.
So, what?
Oh, never mind.
What are you talking about? No. So you're sitting here going, okay, who does Matt Riddle tap? He doesn't have to defend it one-on-one because that would be dumb. I'm looking at you, Smackdown. No, he has to pick up another tag partner. So who does he get? Someone we didn't expect. He didn't even know. Apparently Pete Dunne didn't tell him, because at the very end, out comes, as you said, Nick, Timothy Thatcher, or what you get when you have Oni Lorcan hate fucking a werewolf. Out he comes, and looking like he never had a good day in his life. And so the entire match, of course, we're building up towards Timothy Thatcher getting in and getting some shots in, and he does, and he absolutely murders the Undisputed Era. Okay, Nick, I think am I wrong? This is your first time seeing Timothy Thatcher?
Yeah, it's my first time seeing him. I have heard plenty about him, but it's my first time seeing him perform, yes.
What did you think on your first impression of Timothy Thatcher? It was a very brief one, I'll tell you that.
He's a goddamn monster. He's massive, and he's going to destroy people. And I think it's why a lot of people were so excited about him debuting, was that he was finally, like, of course we've got Keith Lee, we've got Dijak, we've got some big boys, but there was no, like, big boy. It's like Austin Theory, just, like, huge and with a giant beard. You know what I mean? It's like it could be somebody that could be a big, huge, massive character and figurehead in WWE in the future.
But he's not young. He's like you said, like
I know.
he's a veteran at this point, and I don't know how many good years he has in him. But as you said also, if you're going to stand next to Matt Riddle and still physically look imposing, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Like, and then also get in the ring and, technically look like you're a scary guy after Matt Riddle's in there doing some work. Like Timothy, this is why when Timothy Thatcher was signed, we said this is a big deal. This is going to be good for NXT. I wonder how far they're going to let him fly, though. Yeah. I wonder if it's the sort of thing where he's just going to be in there to put over the new guys, make them look good, because he can be the big, scary guy. So yeah, I'm very curious. For me, I thought this was a good debut because they put him in a situation where he could look good.
Yeah.
And yes, they didn't have screaming fans being like, Timothy Thatcher, bah! But everyone sitting at home was going, who the hell is this guy? He's absolutely terrifying. Wow. He just beat the Undisputed Era, handily. All right. I'm keeping my eyes on Timothy Thatcher. Plus, now you have a viable guy to fill the Pete Dunne void until Dunne is able to get back.
Yeah.
And then you can have stories from there like Thatcher turns on him or whatever you want to do. I thought this was fine. I thought this was a smart decision of anyone you could have pair up with Matt Riddle at this point, considering how thin the tag division is, you have to have him with someone viable. This was as good of a call as they could have made.
Yeah, story writes itself. Pete Dunne is able to come back, and they're like, all right, mate, we're done with you. You can go back. You're done. We don't need you anymore. What? Right, it's fine. Yeah, I love this. And you could put anybody. You could put Enzo Amore in a match with these three dudes, and he would probably look amazing, right? So these are all fantastic ring workers. I have no question about it, and they all did nothing but highlight how good Thatcher is right here. So fantastic. My only wish is that he would have gotten a roaring ovation, to some of the other folks that have come out and surprised us in the last year or two.
He got one from me. What did he get? Oh, Timothy Thatcher. Oh! Yeah. So, yeah. Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah.
The Cruiserweight tournament to determine the interim Cruiserweight champion has begun. Obviously, the belt had to be voided because our champion, Jordan Devlin, could not get back across the pond. So he had to vacate the title. And now we're having a tournament to decide who's going to be the interim Cruiserweight champion. We've got Group A, Kushida, Drake Maverick, which is weird, by the way, seeing as supposedly he was fired. Tony Nese and Jake Atlas. Group B, Swerve Scott, Ihude Fantasma, Akira Tozawa, Jack Gallagher. I really got to quickly touch on the whole Drake Maverick thing because I was like, oh yeah, they'll have him have this one match and then he's done. That firing, by the way, felt like they didn't know what was going on in their own damn company. Right? Like, well, we don't need him. We're never using him. And he's like, I've still got matches. And they're like, oh, really? Well, you just do those and then you're fired. It's like, that's what it felt like. But
they're contractors. They'll still get paid for their performances.
Right. Now you're just limited contract.
You're a circus act.
But I thought that was the case. It's not single elimination. It's a round robin tournament. Everyone in each group has to face everybody else, which is great for us because, good God, some of these mix-ups, some of these matchups are going to be mwah. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a chef's kiss. Mwah. Lovely. I mean, are you happy to finally see this tournament style in WWE? Because usually it's just like the G1 is the only place I can think that we have a round robin tournament.
Oh yeah, this is fantastic. Oh man, this gives me all kinds of good vibes. Because otherwise it's just like single elimination. All right, winner take all kind of thing. As we go through the brackets and everything, it's more March Madness than G1, right? I'm very happy with this.
I wish they would bring this back in WWE, like King of the Ring becomes a round robin or something, and they run it for 2 months or a month, where it's not the main part of the card, but it's on the undercard. Like, just give us something where you mix and match your superstars, and we have the interesting different matchups. And I haven't seen these two match up right now, given their current iterations of their characters. It's a way to take some of the load off of your bookers, for one thing.
I want a jousting tournament of all men worthy of challenging for the crown. Yes, and run that for like 3 months.
Be ye worthy, mount your steed.
Proceed.
Take up your mighty steed. Take up your lance. Strike thine opponent from their mount, from their steed, and thou shalt be worthy of a handkerchief from the queen.
Yes.
May have been to a Renaissance fair once or twice. Huzzah! Farthing for the queen. So this week we got Swerve Scott versus Akira Tozawa. Mwah. Starting off on the good foot.
Both these guys.
Seriously. Tozawa did pick up the win though over your boy Swerve. Your boy Swerve starting off 0-1. 0-1.
I've got my eye on him though of this whole list of someone that could really pull this off.
Round robin tournaments never look at who's winning the first couple of matches.
Yeah, remember when old John Moxley ran the gamut in the B block of the G1 last summer? How'd that work out?
Kota Ibushi starts 0-2 or whatever it was. Right. Yeah, don't look at the first couple matches. So yeah, Swerve definitely has the possibility of coming back. He's also in a group with Hijo de Fantasma, who they finally gave a video package to this week. They finally admitted is part of NXT. He's been there for a minute now. What do you think of Hijo de Fantasma finally showing up in NXT in this way? Of all things, like what a strange place to put him.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure I would have lumped him into the cruiserweights, but I'm not terribly mad at it. Yeah,
it is a little bit weird. The other thing I thought was weird is in his promo package, he spoke nothing but Spanish. The dude speaks perfect English. Of any of the Latino guys they have right now, like the major ones, like Angel Garza speaks really good English. Even Humberto Castillo. Humberto Carrillo speaks all right English. This guy speaks perfect English. So I'm curious that they're having him. It's like
and for those that don't know, this
Lince
is
Dorado.
This is King Cuerno from Lucha Underground. If you watch Lucha Underground. Yep.
Yeah, and he was in Impact for a minute there too.
Yep.
But like Lince Dorado speaks perfect English. So, but they're like, nope, they're a masked wrestler. They got to speak Spanish. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
He's a good promo.
You know what? I'm not terribly mad at it. He's a fantastic promo. Some of these luchadors, when they do Spanish promos, the passion comes across. Otherwise, they're trying to translate in their head, and it can get a little robotic when they're talking, and they don't really use because they're translating on the fly, not really thinking about it. But when they do it in Spanish, you get the pasión. You get the right. You get the heart, you get the vigor and all of that stuff out of it, and it doesn't matter if you don't understand what they're saying. You can feel what they're saying, and let them go, man.
Andrade gives a lot of passion.
You've got a huge Latino audience for pro wrestling. Who cares? Yeah. Let them go.
Let them do one of each.
Take some Rosetta Stone, goddammit, if you don't understand what they're saying.
Well, Andrade has a lot of passion when he gives an English promo. It's just his accent is so damn thick you can't tell what he's actually saying.
Andrade's on another level of conversation. There are folks that can somewhat pull it off. He should be never be given. He should be Brock Lesnar. Like never give him a microphone again.
Yep.
Zelina Vega should speak for him indefinitely.
That's literally what Zelina's for. It's why they made that package in the first place was he can't do this on his own. Give him Zelina.
Yep.
So. The only language he speaks is a language of love. Right, Charlotte? Finn Balor, we'll get to her in a second. Finn Balor versus Fabian Eichner also happened on this show. Finn Balor, of course, in the middle of a feud with Imperium because he's got his sights set on Volta and his NXT UK championship, which is weird. Because didn't Finn just come back as a heel and wanted to go for the NXT championship? I don't know.
Yeah, we got to get Adam Cole back from his pool, though, before anybody can do anything with that friggin' thing.
Adam Cole's having he's having a better quarantine than any of us, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sitting on his sunroom, talking smack to people. But let's talk about Finn Balor and Eichner first. With Marcel Barthel ringside. Finn does pull it off. Eichner beats the crap out of him, though. He had slap marks and rope marks all over him by the end of this. But at the end, Finn does run off the rest of the Imperium boys and say to Walter, I'll see you when I see you. Obviously, Finn and Walter can't really happen right now. Do you think that they're basically pulling Finn back into NXT and giving him something to do in NXT because they have to slow play that Walter feud? Or are they just going to because they did do it here. They're not scrapping that feud.
No.
So
this is to keep it a little, put it on like medium heat and just keep it going a little bit, let it simmer.
What if Finn Balor wins the NXT UK Championship? Like, are they trying to now, because they're trying to promote?
You'd have my
NXT.
attention.
He wins the UK Championship. Is that their attempt to jumpstart the prestige of that brand?
I mean, you would if he's the one that takes down Walter, that shoots him to the moon again.
He's on the level of,
and he goes back to UK
now.
and he's performing at NXT UK instead of in NXT. Yeah, I don't know though. I kind of like Walter and Imperium being, stateside in NXT, but I also understand that they are a very, very important part of NXT UK, and I also feel bad that they're being taken away from NXT UK for the UK fans. So I want to be sympathetic to both sides there. Of course, we want to be greedy and hoard all the talent.
I mean,
bring
Finn
everybody
Balor
over
is from the UK, so it's not like
I know he's Irish.
It's not like Rhea Ripley winning the first NXT UK Women's Championship, which a few people were like,
But I feel like Balor is big enough where he needs to be on the main roster and not on one of the auxiliary brands.
Ooh. You were the one wanting him to go to the Cruiserweight division for how long? Oh, Finn Balor, send him to 205 Live. That's
why is he not in the Cruiserweight tournament?
Oh my God.
No, he's going to go fight one of the biggest monsters, the biggest dragons to slay in all of wrestling.
Yes.
In Walter.
You just talked out both sides of your argument. He's too big to be on NXT, but put him in the Cruiserweight.
He's too big to be on NXT. He needs to be on NXT, not one of the auxiliary NXT brands, is what I was saying.
Like 205 Live, which you were saying he should be on for years. What? Don't shake your head at me. This is you.
You're missing my point. You're going down a rabbit hole that we don't have
time
for.
Do you have one? What's your point? You sound like you've got like 3 or 4 points.
I do.
And
I don't think Finn Balor should be the one to take the NXT UK Championship off of Walter.
Okay,
it needs to be someone big. Right?
Who's bigger than Finn Balor?
In size and stature. It needs to be another dragon. Otherwise, we end up with another Johnny Gargano title holder situation where you were saying earlier they're better chasers than they are title holders. I would lump Finn into that category.
But Finn, he's not he's not a baby face in the same way that Gargano or Zayn was. He is an arrogant asshole. He's back to being jerk Finn Balor, right? And and the thing is when you have so if you have a title on a big guy, you could never have it taken off the big guy unless it's another big guy. That means your title's always going to be a big guy, Vince McMahon. So that's you've got to at some point have someone besides the big guy.
World Championship.
So what?
You should weigh more than 185 pounds to hold that thing.
Tyler Bate took Walter 45 minutes to beat. He proved a little guy can stand up to a big guy, and there, but for the grace of God, went Walter. You believed Walter could believably lose to Tyler Bate in that match, and Tyler Bate is smaller than Finn Balor. So Finn Balor believably could put together a match with Walter.
Hang on.
Where he could beat him.
We're gonna settle this right now. Tyler Bate weight stats.
Oh, come on.
There's no way Tyler Bate weighs less than Finn Balor.
I said size. I didn't say weight. I said
build weight of Tyler Bate is 175 pounds.
Okay. Keep going, Nick. No, you want to do some research? You want to try and prove go on, Google
There
it.
is no way. That dude's left thigh weighs 175 pounds.
He's also 5'4". He's a damn hobbit. He's from the Midlands. They've got enormous lower body parts. And they're little.
Okay. Finn Balor's 190 pounds.
Okay.
Neither of those guys should be
a walking muscle.
A world heavyweight champion.
Oh, stop. Your big man bias is coming out again. All right.
Am I wrong, chat? I mean, weigh in here, guys.
Finn Balor, absolutely. He was the first Universal Champion. He should have been. End of story. He's a great champion. Get over your bias.
All right.
Get over your bias, Howell.
All right.
Well, either way, Finn Balor looks like
Tyler.
All right. Calm down. Either way, Finn Balor looks like he's going for Velveteen Dream, who came out and said he's waiting for Adam Cole. Adam Cole's not showing up. So, but Adam Cole is the greatest NXT champion of all time. That's undisputed. But what's also undisputed is I'm going to take the title from the greatest NXT champion of all time. That's when Finn Balor came out and was like, you watch your disrespectful mouth. I'm the greatest NXT champion of all time. I'm Finn Balor.
I'm the prince.
Don't you know? I'm the prince. I'm the greatest. If that's what you're going to be, I'll take you out. I'll take you on a date. You have a date with the prince. That's Prince with an X, by the way, because I'm still an LGBTQ ally, even though I'm a bastard.
I understand the situation that the world is in right now. I do not want to see the NXT Championship poolside. I enjoy Adam Cole is an awesome promo. I don't know what to do about it though. If like how do we get our main title back? How do we get story around our main title back? This is like the third time we've done this with Cole, and as a promo, it's fine.
He's a bastard. Like, he doesn't defend this championship unless he absolutely has to. That's part of his story. At least he's on TV saying, no, I'm in my sunroom. Not like, he's not Brock Lesnar and straight up disappearing with the damn thing. He's around. It's part of the story is Velveteen trying to get him locked down for a match. That's the part of the story. You're getting worked by Adam Cole on this.
It's working.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: Velveteen versus Finn Balor next week. Both guys can't afford to lose right now. So, are we seeing Undisputed Era and Imperium attacking both of them? Possibly them teaming up to face both of those factions. I think that'd be a fun way to pass some time.
I mean, I could get my head around that. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a lot of fun.
All right.
UE Imperium? Yeah.
UE Imperium versus Balor and Velveteen. Just a little Ian book in there for you.
I like it.
We'll see.
Like it a lot.
Raquel Gonzales versus Tegan Knox. That's still going on. But this time, Shotzi Blackheart came out for the save on Tegan. I don't know why I wrote her as Tegan Nas in my notes. But okay, whatever. Is there a long-term goal for this, or are we just going to have this keep running with Knox and Shotzi in tag teams? That seems like a poor use of both of these women who are better in singles.
Agreed. And I am slowly cooling on this whole big story. Like, it came out of the gun hot at War Games with Dakota turning. They had their matches, and at some point we should have been done with it. But no, we doubled down. We brought in Raquel Gonzales. Now we're having more matches. Now we're having Tegan Knox fight Raquel Gonzales instead. Meanwhile, taking down who I think is one of the hottest up-and-comers in Shotzi Blackheart with some of the highest ceilings. They were using her as a side piece in this whole feud now instead of her being a bigger singles competitor. Like, I want... Is
that the term you wanted to use for that? What do you want, Nick? What do you... #wrestling.
I don't want this anymore.
Okay.
I've had my fill of it. It's like... you know how you guys, after Thanksgiving, those of us here in the States, after you've eaten leftover Thanksgiving for about the 8th day in a row, you kind of don't want turkey and dressing anymore? I kind of don't want turkey and dressing anymore. I'm kind of over it. Like, let's do something else. Let's make something else for dinner.
I'm here saying, I'm down with some more turkey and dressing. I'm just curious why the ham is being used in this meal as well, where the ham is perfectly acceptable over there.
Yeah.
But just to drive your metaphor into the ground.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm curious where they're going with this. But it is strange to see some of these women used in this way. But I will wait and see what they have in mind. One thing that we don't have to wait any longer for is the debut of Killer Cross. Tommaso Ciampa at the end of the show did a little promo saying, "Fine, Johnny, I'm done with you. You and Candice can do your thing. I give up. I'm out." But what I'm going to do next is, boom, and he gets attacked out of nowhere. The camera falls over, so you can't really see what happens. The next thing that you see is Tommaso's dead face falling into frame. And a boot, big old leather boot, comes in the left, or vinyl boot comes in the left side. Scarlet Bordeaux. And then someone leans over Ciampa, starts snarling at him, and then looks up into the camera, and it's Killer Cross, who, from what I understand, because you can't use the word killer in WWE, is changing his name to Karrion Kross with a K. Karrion Kross. And so, yeah, it looks like Karrion Commercify. Calamity.
That will be awful.
Oh, it's not that bad. You'll get used to it.
How's he not going to be Killer Kross?
He's going to be Karrion Kross. It's fine. It's not like Viking experience levels of bad. Get over it. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I didn't think Kevin Owens was going to. I thought Kevin Owens was a weird one because I'm so used to Kevin Steen. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
Because here's one thing that I was worried about this. You got to put over Kross hard.
Big time.
I'm going to start getting used to calling him Karrion Kross. This is not Dijakovic levels of bad. Karrion Kross is fine. We're still probably going to call him Killer Kross for a while, but it's fine.
Yep.
Ciampa's got to put him over, right? Like he's got to make him look good here.
Like this is a commitment. Like you're gonna debut him against your former champion like this. Like you've got to commit. Like he's got to get over Ciampa.
This just made me think that Ciampa was saying, look, I don't have that many bumps left. I've got a limited, my clock of bumps is drawing to a close. Is Ciampa now kind of on the backswing of his career where he's going to start putting guys over and start maybe transitioning into a backstage role, which he said he wanted to do?
Maybe.
He wanted to get into producing. Like, is this the beginning we're starting to see that now where he's getting infused with guys who need to get over? Gargano puts over Karrion Kross. Like, that's the first thing I thought.
Yeah. Possibly. Very, very possibly. I don't know if this is what I want Ciampa to be doing right away, but I think he's done almost everything he can do in NXT. I feel like he's him and Johnny with the tag championships and the fights with AOP and Revival.
He's been champ.
And, they've had the singles matches and all of that stuff between him and Johnny.
He said he's never going to main roster. He said it.
Yep. So 2 times now he's had 2 rounds with Johnny, coming back as a heel and then kind of coming back as a
feels like 18
or something. Holy smokes! It's all over the place. Yeah, there's nothing for him to do in NXT, or unless we bring other people in or build story around them, because he has nothing for anyone to come and get. So he has no threat. What I want to know is why is Killer Kross going up for Ciampa? Why is he going after Ciampa?
What's the rationale?
Yeah, tell me the story there.
They can make a whole bunch.
Yeah.
They can make a whole bunch. You think you're the baddest guy in NXT?
Don't just do it, right? Just tell me the story.
Well, they're going to get there, Mr. Impatient. It's the first week he just showed up.
I'm nitbooking. You said, what do you want to see from Ciampa here? Where do you think Ciampa goes? I think the Killer Kross thing's fine. Tell me why. Tell me why I should do it. I know. You're assuming they are.
Yes, I am assuming they are because that's what you have to do. Yeah. Good God, man. Speaking of intimidating people, Dexter Lumis, he's back. Had a match with Tahuti Miles, murdered him. 2 up-and-comers, though. Tahuti Miles.
To who?
Tahuti. Never mind.
Anyway.
How do you perceive their respective ceilings? I thought Tahuti looked good here. Like, he's got a good little
they both
swaggery gimmick coming out. I think it's a little the swagger stuff is a little too close to like him and Swerve Scott. There's a few too many dudes coming out, swagging it up.
I'm no way Jose scared for this guy, in a way.
For Tahuti?
Because I think Dexter Lumis has the potential to be a damn megastar. With that, because he just looks at you.
Yeah. You've got
that Stranger Things soundtrack playing in the background the whole time, and I'm just like, stop looking at me, Dexter.
They got to find more levels to it. It's a one-note gimmick right now.
Sure.
It's an early 90s one-note gimmick. It's a damn good one, but they got to find more levels to it.
I love it. Especially in this era we're in right now where it's empty arenas, and the only thing and he says nothing. He makes no noises. He doesn't do anything. He just stares into your soul to the tune of Stranger Things, basically. And it's effective. It works.
But again, it's one note. You got to show me more. Like, yes, you can come out and be intimidating, but go back and look at all those gimmicks in like 94, 93, and how many of them were just like, yeah, they come on first impression. You're like, okay, I get it. Now what? Now what else you got?
Yeah.
What's second gear? What's third gear? What else do you have?
Kind of Chris Statlander syndrome in a way.
Kind of, yeah. If you want to look at modern take of it.
Yep.
But this is a way more specific gimmick than even hers. Hers is like, what the hell even is her gimmick?
She's
So
an alien
this is
that boops.
thanks.
Cool.
Great.
What next? Right?
Well,
What else you got?
I think Loomis is a great starting place, but we got to see more from him.
Yeah.
Xia Li finally got her win back on Aaliyah, who took her out because she kicked Lee in the face and broke her nose, which made her nose look much better, shockingly. Wonder how that works. But then I guess when Aaliyah came back, she took out Xia Li backstage. Now Xia Li kills Aaliyah. So yay! All right, wrap that up.
Cool.
Aaliyah's got a new nose. Wrapped up that little storyline. Great. Charlotte Flair gave a very interesting promo where she said, yes, I'm the best. I've beaten everybody else, and now I've come to NXT, and I'm going to beat everybody here. And once I beat everybody in NXT, I will be the best of the past, of the present, and of the future. I've beaten everybody in NXT when I was there, and then I went to the main roster. I beat everybody in the present. I beat all the horsewomen, and now I'm back in NXT, the supposed future of WWE. I'm going to beat everybody. I'm going to run through everybody here. And once I do that, then I will be the greatest.
Can I tell you a secret?
You think? Yes.
I believe her.
It's, the thing about, and we're going to talk about this some more in a second. The thing about a great heel promo is when they kind of like makes you hate them because they're not wrong. And you go, oh, I want to hate you, but you make a damn good point and it sucks. I hate you more now. That's kind of what this was. She ain't wrong. And I think the people that really got beef on this were the ones that were like, well, yeah, you were giving it all. Or Vince booked you to have all that. Meh. Tell me she didn't deserve it.
She's really good.
Tell me she isn't really freaking good.
She's athletically gifted, has the 6-foot volleyball body to do this. She dresses well, looks the part. You can put her on TV, and she speaks in promos really well. She toes the company line really. Has nothing to do with her last name.
It doesn't. Her last name doesn't hurt.
It helps.
Her last name doesn't hurt at all. Let's be clear. That doesn't hurt. What also doesn't hurt is she has everything you want as the top person in your company. Becky Lynch is currently the #1 star in WWE, but she is that because she's not the Charlotte Flair. She's not the Roman Reigns. She's not the John Cena. She's not the normal one. She's the usual
the people's champ.
Typical.
She's the Rock.
She's a people's champ. Exactly.
Yep.
Even the Rock was, I would say, is not a people. He called himself the people's champ, but he's not. Like Stone Cold was the people's champ, right? He was the atypical guy you wanted to see kick the ass of the authority of the boss of whatever, right? And I'm not saying Becky Lynch is Stone Cold. They're apples and oranges, but I'm saying that is what she satisfies, is the people who don't want to see the Charlotte Flairs, the valedictorian cheerleaders running the place.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, the valedictorian cheerleaders are the ones that run the place because they did the work to be valedictorian and because they have the skills to be the cheerleader. That's what Charlotte is. She had, if you were to say you get one woman from WWE to base your whole company around, if you don't say Charlotte Flair, I question your business acumen.
Yeah.
So in that sense, should Charlotte be the one to be saying all this? Yeah, she gets it because she deserves it. That being said, that puts her in the position, if you have someone up on a pedestal, you can make other people come along and knock them off. And the more of a pedestal she puts herself on, the more rubs someone gets when they finally knock her off. So if they have someone who they do want to be the future, like a Rhea Ripley, Rhea now has a redemption angle to go to. And we've seen how long they will play those in NXT. Redemption angles can last for years in NXT, and they're good at that. So I have all faith, actually, with the people that are taking care of this storyline, that we can have something where Charlotte actually ends up putting somebody over at the end of all of this. Is she going to run through all of your favorites in NXT? Yes, she is.
Yep.
Prepare yourselves. Strap in. She's going to beat all your favorites. She's going to
prepare your butts. It's going to happen.
Prepare your buttholes. Get the chicken grease because it's going to happen.
Mia Yim first on the list.
Mia Yim
next week.
First, right. Oh yeah, Mia Yim. You were my first match in NXT back in the day. I'm taking you out first, says Charlotte. Yep. Mia Yim. She's going down. Io Shirai. She's going down. Shotzi. Bye. Everybody around there is going to get taken out by Charlotte. So just prepare yourselves. But at the end of the day, it is for a greater purpose.
They did the exact same thing with Shayna for the last 2 years, guys.
And Asuka before that.
And Asuka before that. So if you haven't seen the pattern in the template, it's Charlotte is even more believable than Asuka and Charlotte in a way, if you think about it in that respect. So yeah, I jokingly, if you would ask me a year or two ago, I would probably make some joke about Charlotte Reigns or something like that, or handed opportunities or things like that. But I have come full circle. I have come around. Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch aren't getting asked to show up on Fox primetime sports broadcast. Charlotte Flair is.
No, Becky is. Roman has been. They have, but here's the thing, is that Charlotte is in a position where they can continue to put her out there no matter whether she has a title or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll talk. Roman's got some interesting stuff going on right now. There's a reason why Roman is getting, they're pulling back on him again.
Yeah, just had
but,
but
did
I spoil something? I'm sorry.
What? I didn't hear it,
okay.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
At the end of the day, Charlotte's always going to be Charlotte, whether she has a title or not. And mainstream people recognize that last name. And I know a lot of people get, oh, yeah, it's the last name thing again. It carries some weight, too. Opens some doors. So, doesn't, like, the total package, as far as what Vince wants, as far as what anyone who runs a company like this should want. She's got it all. So, hard to argue with Charlotte getting this one, even though it's gonna burn, because you're gonna watch her, as you say, kind of Charlotte Reigns her way through the whole thing. But at least she's doing it in a way where she's looking at you and going, yes, I'm going to run through all your people. It's not like Roman Reigns or John Cena where they're like, oh, they're going to try so hard and they're going to overcome the odds. It's like, no. There's no like false impression that this guy who's never tapped out and never gives up is somehow going to give up because the odds are stacked against them. That's what defines like the Roman Reigns thing, is like he's a plucky babyface yet somehow also the strongest guy in the company. Like that, those two things don't compute.
Right.
Charlotte saying I'm the strongest person in the company and nobody can beat me, F you, is a very different thing to Roman Reigns.
Agreed.
So that I think works. But you know what? We're talking a whole lot about the main roster, Nick. Maybe let's just cut corners and go over and talk about Friday Night Smackdown.
Before we talk about anything that's going to happen that happened last night on SmackDown, we have to talk about what was announced for Money in the Bank. And we're going to come up with some fun kind of name for it because it's not what you would expect to be a Money in the Bank match. So breaking news, if you haven't heard and you weren't paying attention during the very quick time that they went over it on SmackDown.
They just barely touched on it.
It was like a blip. If you blinked or took a bio break or went to go get a drink and you came back they were coming back from commercial. Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna do this thing where we make them climb all the way to there. All right, next we're gonna have a tag match.
What?
Wait, what? Huh?
What did you say? What? Huh?
So we are going to have a climb the corporate ladder Money in the Bank match where the match is going to be held at WWE Titan Towers headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut.
What?
They're going to start in reception, and there is going to be a wrestling ring on the roof of the Titan Towers.
With a ladder.
With a ladder, and somehow from midair, they're going to suspend a briefcase.
I've seen the setup. They have a crane.
I am so sports intrigued right now.
Also, okay, so
I want this so bad I didn't know I wanted it.
Get this. They've already apparently started pre-filming a bunch of this stuff. A lot of it's already taped. They're shooting it like the Boneyard match. It's going to be cinematic. Hopefully more like the Boneyard, less like the Edge and Randy Orton match. But they're shooting it. They're pre-shooting it, and they're going to go edit it. So it's already done.
Good.
Or mostly done. But this sounds absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But again, isn't this what we're always asking for? Is get creative.
Yes.
Make us go, what? Make us do weird things out of the box. And given the fact that they are like, you can't have a big old cluster match right now because that's bad optics. This is brilliant. Who pitched this? How do we make sure that not everyone is in the same place at the same time? How do we do that Make it interesting. I mean, it sounds like they started with the catchphrase and then worked backwards, right? We call it climb the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
start at the end and work backwards. Yeah,
weird,
absolutely.
But that's a bit of a sensitive topic right now, isn't it? But
yeah.
I saw the poster for this. They put the poster out, whatever, like right before SmackDown. Actually, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was kayfabe news because it looks like a bad Photoshop job. They like literally cut and paste like little people on ladders on the side. I was like, what is this? This has got to be a joke. Nope, it's real. Money in the Bank is going to be them climbing a damn building. It's going to be like we've been saying it in the chat, in all over the chat and everything. We're like, it's like the Raid. It's like Dread.
Yes.
Only wrestling.
Awesome. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think we are going to be very pleasantly surprised by this. By the way, before we move on, your sunglasses just tipped us $10.
Oh, that's nice.
Saying, Ian, I appreciate you not wearing me at night. All right. So thank you, Sir Ian's sunglasses, for $10 in the tip jar, I guess.
I'm even trying to remember how that line goes right now. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
Yeah.
There are these visions in my mind. I don't even remember how that line goes. But thank you. Thank you, sunglasses. You tipped us more than you're actually worth. So yes. I appreciate that. Hey. We actually covered that song one time. It was terrible. So yeah, I am intrigued by this new Money in the Bank thing.
And the poster's fantastic, by the way.
No,
like it looks like some kind of King Kong cheesy poster thing. They put the four look, they're trying to make all movie posters look the same these days. They're all trying to copy the Star Wars, template where they put all these people on the poster at the same time, and they have this kind of point that leads to something. And you can see the top of Titan Towers, and you can see the ladder up there, and you can see all the briefcase hanging, and whatever. This is going to be a lot of fun either way you cut it. And I know there's some doubters out there and some eye rollers and oh God, but this is the kind of stuff we want them to be doing, lest we be stricken to continue to have Smackdowns the way that we had them. We're just empty arenas with matches, no real kind of or do we want Boneyard and Firefly Funhouse stuff? There's an argument for both. There's pros and cons of both, but I think a nice intermix of the two is a healthy formula.
Could be good.
Yep.
Something else is a healthy formula is Mandy and Sonya and Otis and Ziggler. It continues, Nick. They threw a twist in this. It's no longer they actually Nick. It's a red letter day. WWE pivoted a storyline from one intriguing angle to another. They actually evolved the storyline. I'm shocked. They took us from the Otis and Mandy, will he or won't he, Beauty and the Beast, Cad sneaks in thing to now all of a sudden it's about Sonya and all the bad feelings she had for Mandy over all of these years. And the strange dynamic where Dolph Ziggler is now like heart-stricken because Mandy left him. Otis is now with Mandy, and they're like a power couple. This is wild. Sonya came out and delivered what I'm going to call a brass ring promo.
Yeah, well, after what happened on Wednesday, wouldn't you in her position?
A little back up against the wall is what you're saying. This was wild. She comes out and basically not almost, she had tears in her eyes, tearfully pleads with Mandy to come out and let her tell her what she's been trying to say all week. She's been on social media saying, I've got to talk to you.
Like, I thought this was the LGBT angle we were going to get.
And that's what they made you think they were leading towards.
Going towards.
Yes.
That's like, we've been caught. We've been waiting for this for over a year.
Right.
Finally they're going to do it.
Mandy, I just want to tell you I love you.
You shouldn't be with Otis. You should be with me.
That's what we thought. But it turned into something wholly else. Because she went, you are the most selfish person I've ever met. I knew you were going to leave me and our tag team partnership the second that, you got interested in Otis. She was saying, you have no talent. I was this team. But yet you were the centerfold, pretty blonde, bottle blonde Barbie.
Fire and Desire had nothing to do with me.
Right. We came out to your music. I was blurred out because of your stupid graphics, but I was the core of this team the entire time. I'm an actual fighter. You don't even have any talent. Gut shot. Jab. Oh, this was brutal. And the thing is like the emotion when she first came out, as far as acting in WWE goes, was great. It got a little bit off the rails once we got into the actual dialogue because Mandy couldn't act her way out of a wet paper sack. Right. But Sonya was there. She was at the right emotional place. Like from an acting standpoint, she was right where she should have been.
This is what we've been waiting for from Sonya for years now.
Yeah.
This opportunity.
It.
And I thought Jordan phase back, swish. Just absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. Some of the lines she was throwing at Mandy, I was just like, damn, dude. How Mandy?
What's that
Mandy,
meme where the guy goes, ah?
It was
that
like
was
that.
me. That was me the whole time.
And it was, like we said with Charlotte, some of the best heel promos are the ones where you go, ooh, they got a point. They got a point. But of course, at a certain point, this brings out Dolph Ziggler, who comes to Mandy and says, don't tell me that you didn't feel anything for me. He tries to brush her hair off her shoulder. She goes, don't touch me.
Yeah.
And right as she starts to go in on Dolph, Sonya comes in with the hard right and just decks the crap out of her. Dolph's like, why did you do that? And then Otis runs out to save his woman, and then there's a brawl. And everyone's fighting everybody else, and ultimately Otis and Mandy stand tall. But my goodness.
So, fun fact, in a rare occurrence, Esther actually watched a lot of Smackdown with me last night. And during the show, she actually exclaimed, this is the best storyline I've ever seen.
And it's been for the last 6 months.
Because I've been keeping her updated. She's like, why are you so into Otis? He's so gross. Ew, why is Mandy hanging out with him? So I've been telling her no, it's the story of the jock that could never get the girl, and she's like the hot cheerleader and all this, right? And so she's been invested with me for the whole time. And then she was actually there, coincidentally, watching Sonya give that fiery speech last night, and then bang, and then Dolph comes out, and then Otis comes running down, and then the whole thing turns into a big fracas, and she's just glued,
yeah. And here's the thing
staring.
is that it feels natural. It
Yes.
feels like these people are acting, I mean, as natural as you can get in wrestling and in WWE in particular, but you know what I mean? Like this feels more organic. It feels more, I think, to steal a line from chat, who said organic down there?
She just texted me, says, I can hear you, and I agree. Very invested now.
Yeah. And it feels like these characters are going in interesting ways that you could believe they would go in.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to keep this storyline at this level of quality with the writer of this gone? They fired the woman who wrote this storyline for the last 6 months. Are they going to be able to keep this up now that she's gone? Or is this going to all fall off? Can you imagine?
Please give Sonya the chance. Because she can do this.
Apart, if this falls apart after this, if this goes off the rails after this, it's going to be obvious they fired the one person who knew how to do this. And that's going to make it even more frustrating that they laid her off. And hopefully it's a furlough and they bring her back. But man, this is one of the better things that they have. They're getting people over. Like when we talked about the Rusev Lana Lashley storyline, right?
Yeah.
It was awful. And the reason we said ultimately that it was awful was not because it was watchable. It was trashily watchable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't getting anyone over.
No.
It wasn't getting anyone over.
It did nothing for any of those people.
It didn't, it ruined Rusev. It got him kicked out of the company, I would argue. It was his last chance.
It shit all over a complete repackage of Liv Morgan.
Yep. It ruined everyone associated with it.
Yeah.
It took Lashley down a bunch of pegs, which he didn't need to have happen. It made Lana, like people loved Lana. Now they can't stand her. They cannot stand Lana now. It ruined Lana. Terrible storyline. This is getting everyone over. This is making Dolph Ziggler interesting. I'm like, wow, Dolph's got a heart here. I'm intrigued by this. I'm intrigued by everyone in the storyline. Like even Mandy, you present her as like a dumb bottle blonde, whatever, but you turn around and go, yeah, she's got enough character to see something in a guy like Otis. Right? Everyone in this is going to is looking better coming out of this. That's a good storyline.
Totally.
So,
guys, you guys know I've been high on the hog on this one since it started. I'm like,
don't call
this
Otis
is real.
Calling Otis a hog. A storyline I didn't quite understand so much is in the tag team picture, because we had the other side of the match from WrestleMania, where now Big E, Jey Uso, and The Miz had a triple threat for the tag team championships, which makes all the sense in the world. Let's have another tag team match where there's no tag teams. And this one, the tag team championships changed hands. Big E ends up winning the match, which was great for his celebration, but not so great when you consider that you just had the tag team titles lost on a non-tag team match. So what did you think about this, Nick? It was a fun match. Obviously, I love me some Big E, but was this the right decision to do?
I'm looking through your notes here, and I don't see a call out to what happened at the end here.
Okay.
Because, yes, Big E is victorious, as you said, and is all but literally making out with the tag team championships. As we get video promos on screen from Kofi, supposedly in real time, from Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, who somehow magically promoted every single thing he's done in the last 10 years in 30 seconds. But while this was all going on, we got another hacker interference here.
Yes.
Where it said the truth will be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And what they started showing were, and this has a point, I'm pretexting this a little bit they showed a bunch of the tag teams, Miz and Morrison, New Day, several others, right? Are we going to break up the New Day?
So I actually do have this. If you look at the notes, it's the second to last bullet point there. It's about Hoodsie the Hacker is what I'm calling him.
Okay.
So we'll get to that because
I want to do some crazy speculation stuff on that one.
Oh God, we're already behind. All right, well let's power through SmackDown so we can get to that. But because there's other things I wanted to discuss before we started figuring out who might be breaking up, thanks to Hoodsie the Hacker and his inside information. So yes, New Day now tag champions again for the 8th time, one shy of the record held with the Dudley Boys, which means at some point they're going to tie that, they're going to surpass it. Just saying.
Means they got to lose him again really soon.
Yeah. And then gain him back. Before they break him up, Nick. We're coming back to this. This. Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro. They had a better match than I thought they were going to. They let them actually work. But ultimately, Daniel Bryan does go on to Money in the Bank. I thought this was, I don't know why it says between Bryan and Gulak there. Messed up. Between Bryan and Cesaro. But yes, I thought this was better than the Daniel Bryan Nakamura match because they actually let the two guys work. They went out there and showed how good they are. Daniel Bryan going on to Money in the Bank. Okay, cool.
Please let Cesaro wrestle more.
Seriously, with guys like Daniel Bryan, I think is what you should say. God, he was good in this. But that's pretty much all there is to say about it. It was a good match between two guys who can go out there and put on. But by the way, dude, Christ, they were hitting each other hard in this match. Those two guys who like getting hit. I felt like I got hit when we had a moment of bliss with Braun Strowman. It was an awkward segment with lots of silence. Braun out there drinking coffee with the two little ladies, Bliss and Cross.
Yep.
Asking him about Bray, and he's like, I know Bray's a manipulator. You're not going to be able to manipulate me. Oh, is this a present for me in the corner? You shouldn't have. And they're like, we didn't get you a present. What are you talking about? He's like, no, thanks. I really appreciate it. He opens up the present, and inside is his old black lamb mask, his black sheep mask.
The black sheep.
He's all looking at it like, cannot compute. And then Bray's Joker laugh starts playing over the PA. And that's the end of the segment. Okay, Bray versus Braun is happening at Money in the Bank. If Bray beats Braun, does that mean the circle is complete and that Goldberg loss is erased lineally? Because he beat the guy that beat Goldberg, and we can move on now with Bray? Or is this a bad choice to take the title off of Braun so quickly, which is the same thing they did with the Intercontinental title?
I love this. I hate that the title is around Braun's waist to do this right now. I love the redemption angle of going after the people that betrayed Bray and the Wyatt family, right? Is Rowan going to come into play in this at some point? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm looking at this going, I would really be into this, given Bray's track record of success over the last year, almost year with this. Like I'm trusting in Bray and the people that have helped him with the Firefly Funhouse. How's that going to work out with the title? I don't know that I want to care about the title right now. I want to see how this develops. But Money in the Bank's in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So how much time does it really have to marinate and for them to tell us a really good story? The John Cena thing came out of nowhere, but it had nothing to do with the title, really. And
well,
I feel like
it was good.
The Braun thing could be fantastic if they had weeks to build these packages, have promos, tell stories, have little face-offs, and all of those little things.
See, Nick, I think they're going to be able to tell a story well here because of their shared history, all the footage they can pull on that. I think that we're going to get a good story. But why is Bray going for the championship again? He shouldn't lose to Braun. If you want to keep him viable, he's got to beat Braun. He's got to murder Braun. Right?
I mean,
what does that do?
That begs the question, is Reigns going to be the one that takes out The Fiend? Or are they going to do it with Braun here? I don't think they're going to pull the trigger that quickly.
Or are they going to do it with Roman at this point? Roman's
Fiend
going to become the final boss?
He's immunocompromised and he just had babies, which we'll talk about later. So, they're pregnant at least, right? So he's going to be out for some time with paternity duties. So, could it be Braun that defeats the Fiend? As big as he is.
No, and that's what's weird to me. That's what's weird to me.
This is originally the reason why we said last summer, keep it in your pants, keep him away from titles. The Fiend and the Funhouse work without titles.
And right as soon as they pulled it back into their pants, we're like, okay, we'll put it back in our pants, and then they'll have the John Cena thing, and look, we'll go back. Like, okay, everyone not looking again. We're ripping it out of our pants again. Yep. No, God damn it, keep them away from the title. But it's not going to happen. He's going to get the title back.
Yep.
Speaking of titles, Bayley is your women's champ. Hey. Sasha Banks had a match with Tamina because last week Bayley volunteered her for it. If Tamina wins, she gets a title shot at Bayley's championship. We had Bayley on commentary during this match. Tried to interfere at one point, but Lacey Evans came out, took out Bayley. So Tamina took out Sasha. Lacey said she's coming for Sasha, which is weird. I didn't know they had beef. I thought Lacey had beef with Bayley because she's the one that beat her at Royal Rumble, but whatever. She took out Sasha at WrestleMania too. I'm not sure why she has beef with Sasha, aside from the fact that they have a Money in the Bank qualifier match next week.
Yep.
So I guess we're having a 1 week feud between the two of them. I don't know if Lacey's going to be going for the title after this. I don't know what's going on.
There was teaser of a tag team between Tamina and Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah. I mean, this loss here, obviously just to build resentment or the impression of resentment between Sasha and Bayley. One more thing that Bayley, volunteered Sasha for, and then Sasha got beat. So we'll come back to that, though. I got more to say about this. Let's talk about the other side of the women's division. Dana Brooke, with a surprise win over Naomi. Dana Brooke just beat Naomi. Clean as a whistle. And gave her a Batista bomb in the process. Little wink to Big Dave. Because of their little history.
I don't know how to feel about this because I love Dana. I've wanted her to get that push for some time. I love the fact that she's in the Women's Money in the Bank match now.
Yeah.
But I'm also sitting here going, wait, she's already going for the tag titles with Carmella. Naomi doesn't have shit to do.
And Carmella pointed that out to her backstage. Like, what are you doing this? We were supposed to be going for the tag titles.
Literally on the nose, that they're calling attention to this, that Naomi has absolutely nothing to do. And I'm sitting here going, well, yeah, it's a no-brainer. They're doing this backstage to explain why Dana Brooke is about to lose to Naomi.
But at least they're giving multiple levels of storyline here because now she's going to be Money in the Bank. Let's be clear. She's going to be Money in the Bank with Nia Jax, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler. Those are the three women we know are already in it. Dana Brooke's going to get killed.
Yeah.
But at least the storyline is there where Carmella and she are going to have some beef. And maybe they're trying to work on multiple levels of storyline in the women's division in WWE Smackdown. And that, I've got to give them, okay, You've got Mandy and Sonya doing something. You've got Bayley, Sasha, Lacey, and Tamina doing something. Maybe we're trying to do something now with Carmella and Dana. That's 3 women storylines at once. We were saying it sucks that they only have one going. It's only the people going for the title picture. Now they've got 3. I got to give props to that, Nick. I've got to give props to them at least trying to have 3 viable storylines that don't involve someone stealing someone else's man, except, the kind of the Otis Dolph thing, but that was a new twist on it. So it's not like jealousy. It's not like she's fat, so I'm going to beat her up. They've got 3 storylines that are about competition. I got to give credit where credit's due. All right. At least they've got that.
Yeah.
So,
but what's Naomi going to do now?
That is the question. Maybe she gets a second chance redemption match for Money in the Bank and she ends up in it anyway.
I
my
think
thought.
So. That was going to be my thought too. Somehow she's going to find a way to be in the match anyway.
Yeah, like they get a redemption match with her and Carmella. Like Carmella loses her match, Naomi loses her match. They both get a redemption match.
Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I could see that happening.
Or I mean, Nia Jax could lose her spot.
That ain't happening. Sorry, buddy. You're stuck with her.
Yeah.
You're stuck watching her climb a ladder. Climbing a corporate ladder, that is. Sheamus had a squash match against Denzel Dejournette. Dejournette? They didn't know how to pronounce it either on commentary, so I don't know. Another squash match. So it makes me wonder if they brought Sheamus back with no idea what they were going to do with him, except at the very end, Michael Cole started transitioning into this video piece about Jeff Hardy, and Sheamus stopped him and got pissed. He's like, how dare you interrupt me talking about this idiot Jeff Hardy? And I went, aha, that's what they got Sheamus doing.
Yep.
He's going to murder Jeff Hardy because they're going to punish Jeff Hardy for Jeff Hardy being Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Not any more interested in this, but
no.
Noted.
I've had zero interest in Sheamus since he returned, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of interest in Jeff Hardy right now, even though they did have another video package this week about him going through all his drug problems and how he, kind of hit bottom multiple times.
I understand that. At a certain point, you stop getting chances.
Right.
At a certain point,
it's 20 years now.
Over 100 people lost their job this week.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, if you don't learn your own lessons, you don't get any more chances.
Right.
So
he's still
I've got a little bit of
to them, apparently.
Real IRL beef with this, the fact that Jeff Hardy. Now, if Sheamus comes out and just absolutely murders him and it's a whole thing to embarrass Jeff Hardy, I think that's in poor taste as well.
Right. Yes.
Execution style, so to speak. Right. Like I don't want that either. And we just saw a lot of talented people walk out the door. But no, let's keep giving opportunities to someone who can't control themselves and has an addiction problem. And haven't we seen how well that's worked out in the past, guys?
Haven't we? Let's see. We'll see. Fingers crossed for Jeff that he can keep it together, and hopefully they put together something with him and Sheamus that's good. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of high hopes, but I do have a high hope for what Hoodsy the Hacker is talking about. Let's talk about that right now, man.
Okay.
So when he interrupted the Gulak, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro thing, right? It was Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro, but all those guys were ringside. So he interrupted them, which I remember before he was always interrupting the Mandy and Otis segments, ended up being about them.
Yep.
So now he's interrupting them. So it made me think that maybe he's subtly saying that, Gulak and Daniel Bryan might have something happening. But the clips he showed when he was saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, he showed Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. He showed the Usos, showed the New Day, which was what you were concerned about. He showed Miz and Morrison. But the only people he showed in there that weren't a tag team were Sasha and Bayley. Also the ones that are kind of the most obvious ones to betray each other. And all you'd have to do is show Bayley being like, I hate that bitch Sasha, but I keep her around because I can throw her to the wolves whenever I want. And boom.
Right. Yeah,
and then you have beef. So for me,
Wouldn't that be a cheap way to throw that away, though?
Yes,
I mean, the hacker thing.
Yes.
It would be a complete waste of that whole build and weeks and months of the blue ring up on the thing.
It's not revealing the hacker. I feel like the hacker's not going to be revealed till much later. I don't think they're going to show up, Mustafa Ali. I don't think that he's going to. It's not Ramblin' Rabbit. That was not Ramblin'. That was not.
Pulls his hood off. It was me all along.
It's me all along, Austin. You wonder who the hacker was? I'm invested in trees. Yeah, I uncovered all your secrets.
I
got pictures of you in the bathroom.
Listen, I don't know if we're going to see Xavier Woods in WWE again in a wrestling capacity. Unfortunately.
You are. He's coming back in like a month or two. He is. He's gonna. You think the New Day's breaking up?
I think it's I also think that you're right that they're going to go beat the Dudley Boys record.
Yeah.
So I think at some point, listen, to me, there's no, after seeing Big E's promo before the match last night, God, I want that man to have a singles push more than I think I ever have. And that promo, and then seeing the way that he was goofily making out with the titles after the match.
That's Big E, though.
It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nobody else in WWE right now that I want to have a massive singles push than Big E Langston.
Agreed. You know what, Nick? That actually brings us to what usually is our moment of positivity. But before we have to get to that, we have to quickly say, yeah, Corbin and Elias, they're still feuding. Corbin beat the crap out of Elias. Okay.
This is better than the royalty stuff, though. I want to make that point. I like the fact that he's a psycho killer now. I love that.
It was a brutal beatdown. It really was a brutal beatdown. I'll credit where credit's due. I really don't care about Corbin versus Elias. I really don't. I think they're trying to make Corbin look particularly vicious for his match with Gulak next week, which is going to qualify for Money in the Bank. But I don't care about Corbin and Elias. I just don't. At least this was a brutal beatdown. I can say that. I'm going to be like, all right, this was particularly nasty.
At least this was a backstage beatdown and nobody got dog food poured on them.
Good point.
Right. And with that, we are done with the wrestling, but we're not done with the show because we've got to head over and do what has been dubbed by Mr. Sean Clark as our moment of positivity. Mop, 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 mop,
mop. That's right. The mop. The moment of positivity. Mop. Mop, 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 mop.
Surrey and Dangerous, what was your moment of positivity, I guess, since Raw? Since we did our last show on Tuesday.
Biggie. Everything that Biggie does.
Yes.
Giving his fire promo before the match. Going nuts after the match. Making out with the titles. Sitting on Corey Graves' lap. Just being Biggie. Just what that guy does is just absolute nonstop entertainment.
Yes.
And he is one of those rare guys that can be funny and entertaining and still make you feel like he can kick anybody's ass. And that is a rare thing. I've got to say it's just Biggie.
Just Biggie all around.
Biggie just makes me happy. Butterflies and unicorns.
Yes.
And pancakes and Cheerios. And Dragon Ball Z.
I was actually torn this week between two women. I was torn between the promos or the packages of Britt Baker in her dentist office with her whiteboard or Sonya Deville. And I think the reaction that I had to Sonya Deville's promo was my favorite thing of this week. She deserves it. She's waited for it for years. She went out there and absolutely nailed it. We knew she had it in her. And the best possible thing they could do right now is give us some matches. Please give us some matches between the two of them. Please make this a heated feud. Please involve Otis and Dolph. Please keep all of this going. Where's Tucky in all of this? I said a couple of weeks ago I was worried that he's going to get left behind.
Poor
he was
Tucky
nowhere
Jannetty.
to be seen this week, and I'm scary because he's actually the actual only wrestler in this whole thing. I guess Otis was a wrestler too, but my point is
but
we've
Tucky's
seen what Tucky can do the last couple of months.
Dolph's kind of a wrestler too, Nick. I'm just going to throw that out there. He's kind of, the greatest wrestler of all of them. But whatever.
Kent State, yeah, fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Sonya Deville absolutely, finally, when one of the hardest things to do, and I say this to people all the time when I'm coaching them at work and everything, is people can be the best talkers in the world, but the minute you put a camera and a microphone in front of them, they just go crazy. They have no idea what to do, right? She has been waiting for this moment for years. She's relied on social media and being a sidekick to keep herself relevant. And the moment that she gets the opportunity, she comes out and absolutely just knocks it out of the park. Get him, Daria. I hear you. I loved that. I absolutely loved that. I didn't see it coming. I thought this was going to be a crybaby, but I love you and you're my girlfriend kind of thing, and it just...
Yeah, thank God it wasn't. Thank God it wasn't. It was a real storyline.
Yes. Yep. I can't wait to see where this goes. Please keep delivering. Please keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Yes. But that's our rest of our show, guys. Thank you so... Oh, no, we're not done just yet. We've got just enough time for our other news lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
Don't twist the blade on the guy in shades, oh no. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's stuck in my head now. Don't masquerade with the guy in shades, oh no. Oh yeah, well this part I remember.
Still don't know what that means.
None of the song doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
No, that's why it was one.
I don't remember the rest of it.
Corey Hart, who? What other song did he have? Who? What?
Yeah, don't know. She's deceiving me. Cuts my security. The ratings this week. The ratings are in NXT 692,000 with a 0.17 in the 18 to 49 demo. AEW with 683 and a 0.25. Once again, NXT scrapes out a win in the overall numbers, but that's because all the old gray hairs are watching NXT. AEW is crushing it on the 18 to 49 demo. NXT wasn't even in the top 50. In the 18 to 49. It's all 50 plus watching NXT. It's insane.
I am not 50 plus, and I was definitely watching AEW.
Well, there you go. That's
point made.
Point and counterpoint.
Yep.
On bad news, the releases did continue after our surprise news episode the other day, Nick. Tainara Conti from NXT released for real this time, apparently. Because there was that, was she or wasn't she at the beginning of the year? Apparently, she's gone for real. Cesar Bononi never really got traction, unfortunately. Bye-bye, Cesar. Mars Wang, Dan Matha, Nick Comoroto, Alyssa Marino, who was a backstage interviewer. Tino Sabatelli. I hate to say it. Tino Sabatelli finally got released. Poor guy. Could not catch a damn break. And he is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Mohammed Abel Fattah, also known as Mohammed Fahim. He's an Egyptian-born talent. Marcos Gomez, he was from Brazil. He was a Muay Thai jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
Faisal Kurdi from Saudi Arabia. Edgar Lopez, who was a Chilean, I believe, football player. You had Hussein Adagal from Saudi Arabia. He was a bodybuilder. Big yoke guy. Yi Feng from China. You might have seen him on TV, once as he's known as Rocky. You might have seen him as live events. And then, of course, another big one, Cassius Ohno. These are all the last few are all ones that have been taken off of the PC site, so it's not 100% confirmed that they were released, but they're no longer listed as PC staff or talent. And then Cassius Ohno was moved to the alumni section. So yeah, all of the main roster releases have a no compete until 7/15. I believe the NXT releases all are 30-day no compete, so that's mid-May. But main roster, it's until July 15th is a no compete.
Yeah.
Also, as I said on the previous in the show, I did check up the Good Brothers, Mike and Maria Kanellis, all had they had recently renewed their contracts. Their contracts were good until 2024.
Yeah, they did 5-year deals last year.
They were good. They are no longer. Rusev also was good till 23. So they did release some big contracts there, which is probably why they released so much money for WWE to use. Speaking of which, WWE, we were kind of getting down on them for going all the way live, but apparently that's not the case. Plans have changed again. They will be now doing a strange schedule of taping where they'll be kind of going off weeks Be taping 2 weeks every other week. So, for example, on Saturday the 25th, they're going to tape 2 episodes of SmackDown for the 1st and the 8th of May. Monday, they're going to tape 2 episodes of Raw, one for that night, and then the other one for May 4th.
They've got to be taping a bunch of stuff for Money in the Bank, too, right?
They've already been doing that. Exactly.
Yeah.
They've already been on Stanford taping that before someone shuts them down.
Yeah.
So they've now changed their schedule again. There's nothing saying that they're not going to change it again, possibly do some live shows in there. They have released a huge long schedule, which I won't get into here because it's a whole lot of stuff. But basically, they've now got a schedule set up of tapings to try to offset everything, and a few live shows in there as well. So a way to just try to keep everyone as safe as possible. They are saying that, yes, although they don't have tests, they are having everyone, as long as they're not on camera, wearing masks, gloves. They're doing a pandemic level wipe down of everything at all times. So they are trying to be as safe as possible given the circumstances while still trying to put out the product.
Yeah.
So, obviously, unless we're there, it's no way to know exactly how thorough they're being. But it sounds like from what they're saying, they're being as thorough as they could possibly be. And some other bad news, though. WrestleMania 37 right here in Los Angeles may be in jeopardy. SoFi Stadium, where they're going to have it, the new big stadium they're building down in Inglewood, might not be open on time. They've pushed back the opening until June, possibly July of next year. So it may not even be ready to go for WrestleMania. So
much less the NFL season.
Right. Yeah, this could be bad.
If we have one.
If we have an NFL season. So this could be bad.
Draft
they might
is next week, so we'll see.
Yeah. And I'll put it this way. As far as people speculating on where WrestleMania might go, I'll put it this way. Florida has been very nice to them recently. They might throw that business back to Florida. They were already speculating on Tampa for 2022, but it wouldn't surprise me if they worked something out for 21 as well, as a way of giving back business to Florida, allowing them to work right now. So throwing that out there. It's a bummer because I was really looking forward to having it be here in LA.
Me too.
Maybe they flip it and they do Tampa next year and LA in 2022. I don't know, but it's looking like LA might be out of the cards for next year WrestleMania. AJ Styles gave an online, he was streaming online. He was asked about how he felt about the Good Brothers being released. He said it was, quote, devastating. He was devastated by it. He feels like they're his little brothers. He didn't take good enough care of them. He wasn't able to save them. So he's really beating himself up over them being released.
Damn.
Hopefully he works something out. Carl Anderson's already.
How is he live streaming?
Sorry, he's dead streaming. He's from the other side. You know, and it's yeah. They held a seance and
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Kyle Anderson's already saying he's going to go to Japan. He's already putting out videos that, that hint he's going to Japan. I can't imagine that we wouldn't see him show up at some point over in Bullet Club over there. He is still Bullet Club, technically. Kyle O'Reilly, we mentioned he didn't wrestle this week due to him being immunocompromised. It's because he's got diabetes. And he just doesn't feel safe wrestling when he's got a little bit questionable. So they're allowing him to sit out for this. Cash Wheeler, a.k.a. Dash from Dash and Dawson, the Revival. He has filed copyright for Fear the Revolt. The Revolt is also on Wikipedia already as the new name for the Revival. So all things, and when asked about it, he said no comment. All things pointing to the Revival being renamed the Revolt. What do you think about that name for them?
Not mad at it.
Not mad at it either. Not mad at it either. Some more news came out about them. Apparently, Vince wanted to repackage them as a comedy team, give them some weird, funny-looking garb. I saw pictures of it online with like scarves and like long, weird, drapey.
Fashion
It
police.
looks silly.
Yeah, it's going to be silly.
Not even fashion police. I don't even know how to describe it. It looked like a cross between Arabian Nights and a Disney cartoon. It didn't look good. And apparently in one of their last meetings, Vince actually personally handed them these drawings of their new outfits. And that may have led to their wanting to walk away. I got to say, if someone came into me and I had built my name on being a tag team that was a throwback to an era of pure wrestling, and someone came in and said, hey, I'm going to make you guys a couple of goofballs that look like this, I would have packed up my bags and left too. So
Yup.
I got mad for them. Not going to lie. Speaking of Vince, according to Wrestling Observer, Vince has put out an edict that no one is to mention Roman Reigns' name while on air. Up to your guess as well good as mine as to why he's saying that. If it's because he doesn't want he wants to kind of freeze Roman in place in terms of storyline, doesn't want to change where he is in his character, or if he's mad at him for getting sick and leaving in a time when he might need him the most.
Is this a betrayal?
I don't know.
Are we going to hear more about this where the golden son of WWE for the last 5 years somehow betrayed Papa Vince?
I personally think it's just he's trying not to make people think about Roman and think about where he is.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't think it's as sinister as you make it sound, but it might be. No way of knowing. Also from Wrestling Observer, when looking at the actual quarterly numbers, Gargano Ciampa match lost viewers, and the Nakazawa Omega DDT style match gained numbers for AEW.
Interesting.
Very interesting. We were speculating last week on who's watching what and how they like. Do you think people liked this DDT style match? Apparently they did, because it gained numbers.
Yeah,
and
maybe people want to watch fun TV and not dark, brooding, long, knockdown, drag-out fights. I don't know. Maybe.
At this particular time in history,
Right.
Yeah, I think this clearly shows that. Speaking of dark times in
Or
some
it's
sad
channel
news,
flippers, you know?
Well, it was significant numbers. It was by a significant amount.
Oh, well, okay.
Indie wrestler Black Damon, Mexican indie wrestler Black Damon, passed away from COVID-related things this week, COVID-related complications this week. He was age 39. Had a chance of seeing him one time. Good dude, good wrestler. Sorry to hear that. But he was the first official wrestler to actually expire, to pass away from this whole thing, from this actual disease. So there it is. It's finally happened. A wrestler has contracted and passed away from this disease. We mentioned Jordan Devlin earlier. He's stuck over in the UK. While he's stuck over there, he is one of a couple of wrestling schools that are getting accosted by shitty landlords. Apparently his landlord has forced his school to move because he demanded 100% of the rent the day before it was due. And so instead of paying it in a time when he cannot make the money to pay it, Devlin said, cool, my school will go on. It will not continue to go on here. Piss off.
Yeah.
Moved his school. And if that landlord is by any chance listening, go fuck yourself.
Right, exactly.
According to David Starr, Ring of Honor has not fired anyone. It has canceled shows to protect people, and it's still paying all its salaried employees. Obviously, him throwing a little love to Ring of Honor because they are still doing right by all their employees. Also, New Japan doing the same thing. Have not yet heard about Impact, but I've also not heard of any firings or furloughs over there. So interesting to see who's doing what, where in the wrestling world. And finally, Jake the Snake Roberts tweeted out that he is out of quarantine. He's going to lose 30 pounds the next few weeks. And that also, he's very grateful to AEW. They've been awesome to him. Nothing but love from them. He is very happy right now in his current situation. And given the fact he was tweeting out some kind of scary things a couple of weeks ago where he was locked in his hotel room in quarantine, nice to see these back in DDP's house and doing better in a good headspace and is feeling very positive. So props to Jake the Snake.
Props
Keep on
to
it, brother.
DDP. Thanks
Props
for
to
saving
DDP.
a brother, for looking
Seriously,
out.
props to DDP. Giving him an environment to save himself, I would say. But yeah. And that's the news, Nick.
Well, thank you very much, Surian Dangerous, and thank you guys for joining us today, especially a big shout-out to everybody in the chat. Nicholas Yates, Anonymous, Jonathan, Abraham, and your very own sunglasses for all the tips in the tip jar today. Thank you guys very much for that. Come over and join us on Facebook, guys. Just search for Busted Wide Open. Like our page and send us a join request to get right in. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BWO Podcast. And subscribe to us here on YouTube if you're not already. You guys that are listening to this as an audio podcast, you're missing out on so many good times. Nick's facial expressions that you'll never hear. See what I did there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All of the live chat antics that are going on that we don't always have time to call out. We love you guys that show up for the chat every single episode. Thank you guys so much for that. And come join us at youtube.com/BustedWideOpen. Make sure you pound that subscribe button, like all the videos you enjoy, and jingle that notification bell so you get notified when we do go live. And last but certainly not least, thanks to all of our patrons, our phenomenal ones, for all of your contributions throughout all of these dark times. We got some merch store news coming to you very soon. We got some new fun stuff that we're going to be launching here. We got a lot of plans for going into year 4 at the end of May, which we've got about 6 weeks to pull off these miracles here, but we got a plan. We got some good stuff coming. Bear with us, guys, as we get through the next little bit, but good things are on the way for sure. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God,
would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.